Welcome to the Genius Talk podcast. I am your host Atul Raj from the bestemailmarketer.com, and today we have Jamie Smart with us. Jamie, thank you so much for joining.
Great to be with you, Adil.
Okay, brother. So for our listeners who don't know you, can you tell them who you are and what do you do?
Sure. I'm a Sunday Times bestselling author, speaker, and coach. And what I do is I work with individuals and organizations, businesses, companies, teaching people how to uncover the principles behind clarity and bring that clarity and resilience and well-being to their day-to-day lives and to their businesses.
Okay, so what was the turning point that led you into the whole clarity work in the first place?
Well, it's great question. So I was a business owner already. I had a very successful online education business. And in 2007, I read Tim Ferriss's book, The 4 Hour Work Week. And I was like, that's where I've been going wrong. I need to get my business running on autopilot and go around the world having mini retirements. So I did that. I went for my first mini retirement, which was like a 3-month ski holiday in Whistler in Canada. And I was so psyched because, like, as far as the rules of my idea of the world were concerned, I was going to be so happy because I was successful and my business is running on autopilot and I'm like, getting good at skiing and it's so great. And about 6 weeks in, I was miserable. I was feeling off track and off purpose. And I was like, this doesn't make sense. I should be so happy. And instead, something ain't right. What is it? So I went back to the drawing board. What I discovered, Atul, was that I'd been running a hidden pattern, which I call the I'll be happy when pattern. I call it the hidden hamster wheel. And it's really, it's kind of a trap for entrepreneurs because we have this idea in mind, like I'll be happy when I hit, $1 million profitability or 40% profitability, or I'll be happy when I can, take 4 days a week off, or here's a classic one. I'll be happy when I can sell the business and exit. I can't tell you how many entrepreneurs who I've spoken to who they exited and they thought that they would be so happy when they got, and they got a good price and everything like that. And then they're miserable. They're feeling without purpose and that sort of thing. And it all boils down to one thing is I realized I'll tell you a story.
Mhm.
I hired a coach and I was working with my coach and my coach said, okay, well, make a list of your goals. So and I had all these goals, to make this much money and go powder skiing in Kathmandu and all this sort of stuff. He said, okay, I want you to go through the list and cross out any goal that you think would make you happier. Well, I crossed out them all because that was my whole idea was I'll be happy when I achieve
Mhm.
this. I'll be happy when I do this. He says, not how it works. He said, happiness and well-being come from within. It always comes from within. He said, happiness is so inherent to human beings that babies can do it. They haven't learned to do it. They don't have a daily practice. They don't have any of that. They're happy. Not all the time. It's so what I realized was, well, I had three realizations. The first was, everything you've been looking for outside of you is already there within you. Not just happiness, peace of mind, mental clarity, sights and realizations, resilience, confidence, all these things that are people are telling us how to build or increase, they're pre-existing qualities. They're built into human beings. And so that was my first realization. My second realization was the fact that a person even can hear this podcast means they've got those within them. But we've been conditioned by parents, priests, teachers, the advertising industry, media, our entire semantic environment tells us that happiness and well-being are external and distant. They're somewhere to get to, that they're external achievements, but they're not. They're built-in capacities. And that's why, give you an example. Every time I work with entrepreneurs, I'll ask them, when do you get your best ideas? And the answers are always the same. In the shower, when I'm out for a walk, when I'm relaxing just before I fall asleep, or when I first wake up in the morning. So that's because insight, realization, fresh new ideas are an emergent property of a mind that's at ease, a mind that's at rest. And yet we're constantly looking for ways to get those things, not realizing they're already built in. It's a trick of the mind. So that was what sparked it for me.
Okay, so you're talking about like inside out rather than outside in. So can you unpack that in a simple, practical way for entrepreneurs?
So anyone who's got little children or has been a little child, little children, often you'll give them a teddy bear or a security blanket, and you'll give it to them, and they'll feel a sense of comfort and security and well-being when they've got the teddy bear or the security blanket. And it'll genuinely seem to that kid like their feelings of peace and well-being are coming from the bear or coming from the blanket. But the bear's just made of fabric and foam. The blanket's just made of wool. It can't give them a feeling. Those feelings of security, comfort, well being are coming from within the child. 100% of it is coming from within the child. Then they're attributing it to the teddy bear. I call it the teddy bear factor. They're attributing it to the teddy bear. Well, we all get that as adults, but as adults, we have all these things in our own lives that are our adult teddy bears. We think our feelings of love and connection are coming from finding the right partner, or we think that our feelings of security are coming from the money in the bank, or we think our feelings of success are coming from hitting a target or that sort of thing. But again, they're coming from within. It's a trick of the mind. It's like a funhouse mirror. The key there's 3 simple steps if you wanna see this for yourself. Step 1, you gotta decide whether I'm onto something or not. Either I'm some crazy guy who's got some crackpot theory, or there's something in what I'm saying. If you decide there's something in what I'm saying, then step 2 is you gotta figure out, would life be better if you knew that you already have all the qualities that you've been looking for out in the world? Now, here's the funny thing with a lot of entrepreneurs, Atul, they'll say, "Oh, but if I didn't think I needed to achieve X, Y, or Z in order to be happy, why would I do it?" It's like, well, it turns out when you're at peace with yourself and have a mental clarity and are in touch with where that stuff comes from, then you have things that you're inspired to do. You want to do things just for the joy of doing them because they're the right thing to do. Like Elon Musk, he wants to have a rocket to Mars, not because it'll make him happy, but because he thinks it's the right thing to do. It's what he's inspired to do. And I'll ask so many entrepreneurs when I ask, what gave you the inspiration to start your business? They'll say, oh, I was out for a walk, or I was in the shower, or I was lying in bed first thing in the morning. And then I suddenly had this idea of, wouldn't it be wonderful to do such and such? So they were inspired and they quit their job or they sold their business or whatever so that they could do this new thing, because that inspiration is a built-in capacity of the human mind as well. But that's something we want for its own sake. But then because of the the meaning environment we live in, we get the idea that, oh, we need to do that in order to be safe or in order to be happy or in order to be okay. But the fact of the matter is, when you realize you actually have that security, that confidence, that clarity within you, then you're free to do whatever makes sense to you, whatever you're inspired to do.
Okay, so what are some early warning signs that someone has lost clarity? And what's the first small step they can take to get it back in the
I
moment?
mean, the most obvious warning signs are actually things like feelings of urgency, feelings of unhealthy stress, feelings of worry and anxiety. Those things are letting us know that we're attributing our well-being to something outside of us, either in the future or the past or in other people or in circumstance. So that's the warning sign. And those feelings of worry, insecurity, anxiety, urgency are actually a built-in warning sign in your psychological immune system, letting you know that you've kind of lost your bearings, right? But this is another trick of the mind. Often when people are feeling worried or anxious, they believe that those feelings of worry or bother or anxiety are letting them know about the thing that they're thinking about. That, oh, I'm feeling worried. That must mean the business is doing badly. Or I'm feeling anxious. That must mean, that call I had with so and so didn't go well. But actually, the feeling is letting you know about how you're thinking about it. It's letting you know about the state of mind you're in. So the one small step is to notice when you've attributed your well-being to something outside of you. And you'll notice that because of the feeling you're in. And then that noticing is the first step to finding your way back to clarity, because it's a self-correcting system. I'll give you an example. I've got a snow globe here in my hand, and if I shake it up, it gets all cloudy with
Yeah,
snow.
yeah.
But If I hold it still, then the snow settles and clarity emerges. And the reason clarity emerges is because clarity's water's natural state. Right? I don't have to do anything. Just need to stop shaking the damn thing. Well, clarity is your mind's natural state. It's built in. So often the very, very rituals, practices, techniques people are using to try and get a clear mind are actually shaking it up.
So what should we do?
Back to the previous step. Notice that your feelings of worry, anxiety, stress, urgency are letting you know about the mindset you're in, not about your circumstances. In general, like one of the things you'll find if you speak to people who have been in genuine emergency situations where it's actually emergency, where it's actually urgent, they'll often say, "Oh, my mind went completely clear." Because you stop and think about it for a second, Atul. We've evolved over millions of years. Like the fact that you're even listening to me right now is a function of the fact that millions of generations of creatures managed to find a mate, hook up with them, survive till breeding age, and pass on their genetic material. And that's happened over and over again through history, millions of times. So we're built for reality. We're built for a much more perilous environment than the one most of us live in today. Right. And so what you find is that most, like if you stop and think about it, a rabbit, a bunny rabbit, or a squirrel living in your local park has to run for its life several times a day because it's being chased by a dog or being chased by a bird of prey or something like that. And so it goes into fight or flight a couple of times a day and then spends the rest of the day eating and having sex and things like the things that squirrels and rabbits do. Well, most human beings don't encounter any genuine danger on a day-to-day basis, and yet they're spending the whole time in fight or flight. Well, our nervous systems aren't built for that. Our nervous systems are built to be at ease, to be present, to be engaged, and only to go into fight or flight when we need to save our lives. And for most people, most of the time, that's once in a blue moon, but they're
Uh,
living in a background fight or flight, in a background state of stress or anxiety that is making it hard for them to see clearly and hard for them to think clearly. So the reason they're living in that background state of stress and anxiety is because of this trick of the mind, the mistaken belief that their felt experience is letting them know about something other than their state of mind.
okay, to fix that, how can we like get? What should we
Okay,
do?
great question.
Yeah.
So first thing you need to do is decide whether I'm onto something or not. Am I just some crazy guy or am I onto something? Step two,
Okay. Okay.
would life be better if you spent more of the time with a clear mind, settled down, seeing things as they are rather than caught up in your own inner obstacle course? If that seems likely, then step three is make it a priority to learn about this. Because here's the thing, Atul. We live in a marketing environment and a media environment that is telling us 1,000 times a day that it works outside in, that it works the other way, the way that we've all been taught. And I'm one person saying, no, it works the other way around. It's like if you think about it, in the old days, people used to think that the sun went round the earth. Do you know why they thought the sun went round the earth? Because it really looked like it does. It seems like the sun goes around the earth, but Galileo came along and said, no, no, the earth goes around the sun. It's a trick of the mind. It seems like the sun goes around the earth, but actually the earth goes around the sun. Well, I'm saying the same thing. It seems to us like our felt experience is coming from the market or our businesses or our partners or our employees or our financials or our bank manager or getting out of bed the wrong side. And I'm saying, I know it looks like that, but it works the other way around. Your feelings of worry, stress, anxiety, overwhelm are letting you know about the state of mind you're in. And the first step to clearing that up is to realize the truth of it. That's step.
So, what belief about success or performance do you think most entrepreneurs need to unlearn right now?
Well, I think this is going to sound counterintuitive to a lot of people, but I think the most valuable thing that the two most valuable things that anyone can learn, any entrepreneur can learn, any athlete can learn, any performer can learn. Number one, how experience is created. If you understand where your moment to moment experience is coming from, it's coming from within, it's coming from your own nervous system, not from the world or the market or the business. Discovering that unlearns so many false ideas that are messing with people, causing problems. So that's the number one thing. The number two thing is discover who you really are. Like, the fact of the matter is, we get hypnotized from an early age into believing that who we are is a self image, an idea of ourselves, a position, all that sort of thing. But actually, you've got something far, far more powerful. The identity you were born with is far more powerful. And that's the source of all the inspiration you've ever had, all the clarity you've ever experienced, all the beautiful feelings of love and connection you've ever felt, all the insights and realizations you've had, all the brilliant creative ideas you've had have all come from the source of truth and beauty at the heart of your being. But we get tricked into believing that who we are is this, I'm this guy who got these grades at school or won this prize, or I'm the CEO of such and such. That's who I am. Well, no, that's not who you're not. You're not that. You're far more than. And so the two most valuable things anyone can learn are, number one, how experience is created, like where their experience of, where their felt experience of life is coming from. Number two, who they really are. You learn those two things, you're off to the races.
Okay, so can you tell a story of a client who had a big shift after seeing this inside out nature of experience,
Sure,
and
sure.
what changed for them in their business and life?
Yeah, I'll tell you one comes to mind right away. One comes to mind right away. A client called Ian. Ian hired me because he was feeling stuck in his business. Very successful business, multi-million pound business, but he was stuck. And he was stuck in life and his relationships and feeling off track and off purpose. So he hired me. So we get together for our first session. And we're about halfway through the session. And he says, Jamie, I'm going to need some kind of formula for how this is going to work. I said, okay, here's your formula. You plus a misunderstanding equals stuck. He's like, okay, got it. So I'm stuck because of a misunderstanding. I say, you got it, man. I said, it gets even better. You minus a misunderstanding is clarity, purpose, intuition, insight, peace of mind, connected relationships, and a sense of purpose and direction in life. He's like, great, let's go for it. So we worked together for 3 days. This is one of my classic ways of working. I'll get together with a client, often business owners and entrepreneurs will spend 3 days together. And we'll start the 3 days by them making like a laundry list of what they want. So they
Mhm.
want, I want to double my turnover. I want to find a new relationship. I want to this. I want that. So they'll have a list of things that they want. And then we spend 2 days, the first 2 days, and then we go back to their list. And the same thing happens every time they go back to their list. The things they'd seen as problems on the first day didn't look like problems anymore. Or they knew they'd said, no, I know exactly what to do about that. I'll do this, this, and this. The things they'd had as goals, they're either like, yeah, I love that. I know exactly what I'll do to take the next step. Or they'll be like, I'm not that interested in that anymore because it was a function of a misunderstanding. And the transformations they want to make, either they know exactly what to do or they're not that interested. It just depends. So he comes out of that. I got a message from him. I can't give you the exact numbers because I don't want to misspeak, but I got a message from him recently saying he'd like doubled or tripled his turnover, massively increased his profitability. This is like years later, 6 or 7 years later. He's more on track than ever before, sense of purpose and direction, loving relationships, all that stuff. And it's classic because the fact of the matter, Atul, is we're built for success in this world. We're built for reality. We have an intuitive built-in understanding of how to operate in the world, and we have a built-in source of clarity and wisdom and guidance that can point us in the right direction. So all I'm really doing is kind of disconnecting people from all the misunderstandings they've got about themselves and the world. And the challenge with entrepreneurs, of course, is often, even with those misunderstandings, they've already done very well. And so it takes a certain amount of courage for people to let go of the things that have worked to get them to this point so they can go to the next level. So that's why we spend a few days doing it. But as people fall out of their misunderstandings about themselves and about life, and fall awake to who they really are and what they've got going for them, everything unfolds for them beautifully.
Okay, Jamie, thank you so much for sharing that. And for our listeners who want to connect with you, get some help from you, where can they go?
Easiest way is my website, jamiesmart.com. My books are on Amazon and that sort of thing. But the website, send us an email at info@jamiesmart.com. That's the easiest way to do it.
Great, Jamie. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. And it was really fun chatting with you.
Great to meet you, Atul. Thanks for your time.